Welcome to the U.S. government. My name is Dustin McCarty. I've been teaching at Calvary for ever, yes, since God was a kid. I've been teaching at Calvary for 13 years. We've been parents here for 20 years. We were here the second year the school's open. We have 4 girls, and you'll get to meet them here in just a second. And you're in your senior year. So, things notch up about 12 notches from the first year of your schooling. All of my contact information is on the syllabus, but something that you should know is that we have a new policy, and so anytime students, if you text me or email me, if you do not have a parent CC'd in that or included in the text group, then I'm going to reply with a very specific phrase that I'll show you in just a second. Okay? All right, so you are responsible for your education. Those of you who've had me in missions geography, you know most of this spiel. I hold the same convictions here that I hold in geography, that the burden is on you. It's not mommy, it's not daddy. The beautiful thing from the university model is that it takes you from a dependent situation to an independent situation. It moves you from being spoon-fed where you're receiving to where you are able to feed yourself. And then the hope is, because of that momentum and that transfer of responsibility, you're then able to help others as you go forward. So, as I tell my girls, if you can't take care of your own mess, how are you going to be able to help others with their mess? So, this model helps that transition to progress. If you really want to do something, we'll find a way. And if you don't, we'll find an excuse. In your packet, you'll find an excuse creator to help you with those things. It has 3 columns, and you can randomly select and combine those to come up with creative excuses, all of which are invalid, just as invalid as the ones that you have that you would come up with.
Do it at the dinner table. It's fun. We've done this.
It's a good time. It's entertainment. So, the first year I found this cartoon, I thought it was hilarious, and I thought, I'll print that and hand it out to my class. And so I printed it. Suddenly it was not nearly as funny. They totally lost all humor in that. I'm partially colorblind, so it's not that funny to me in the first one. So I'm going to skip this part because we're running short on time. I usually have you go through the whole, it's my fault. It's not mom's fault. It's not anybody else's fault. It's your fault if you don't get your stuff done. You know your schedule. You know your work. If you're not following the webinar, not checking boxes and getting stuff done, you're wrong. So take care of your business. Welcome to U.S. government. A little bit about me. I have a wife, which may surprise you, but it still surprises me. Her name is Tracy. You'll probably see her around some. She's up at the school quite a bit. She's awesome. We've been married for 27 years now. I didn't change this slide, I changed the geography one. One of our friends used to have Halloween costume competitions for couples, and we won every single year. This is one of our winner ones with Dog and his wife. We have 4 daughters. Daughter number 1 is Dakota Chinister. She's married to Cody, my son-in-law. He's a good guy. You know he's a good guy because he's still breathing. And they're expecting our first grandchild in November. Number 2 daughters, Trinity. She graduated from Denton Calvary just like Dakota did. Dakota is a doctor of physical therapy at Medical City, Louisville. Trinity's pursuing a degree in dietetics through Texas Women's University. She's pretty awesome. Number 3 daughter, Remington Sky. She's a sophomore this year. She loves volleyball. She's a good kid. She survived a vicious bear attack in New Mexico. Number 4 daughter is Sierra Justice, CJ. She is noise with dirt on it. She's a lot of fun. And she is a 7th grader this year at Calvary. Yeah. And my mom also lives with us. And most days she's a hoot. Some days she's a little hoot less than she is on other days, but she's good people. My grandson is coming. This is what he looks like. They even do 4D now. They have imagery and stuff like that. This is the good dog, Lyric, my dog. The other 3 dogs are less than good. One of them thinks it's a cat. One of them is just dumb as a bag of hammers. But So we have one good dog. Our girls like each other. They actually enjoy each other. They like to do things together. They still laugh, top to bottom. Oldest gets along with youngest. Everybody in between. We have some issues sometimes, but we always work it out, and they're very united. It's a beautiful thing, and Cody too. A little bit about me. I like the outdoors. I like to hunt. I like to fish. Okay. I like to disciple. I like to teach. My primary job is in missions, and I'll share a little bit more about that next. So we do all sorts of stuff outside: geocaching, eating ice cream, four-wheel drive trails, all that type of stuff. And most of the time, we're semi-normal. One of the things in my travels is I look for humor. And it's amazing when you get your face out of your phone how many things you can find in the world that are just naturally funny or are naturally beautiful and elegant that you would miss because you're looking at pixels instead of reality. So this is an example. At Kroger a few years ago, I found this lady who had toilet paper hanging out of her back of her pants, and so I did the Christian thing by not telling her and taking a photo. This is a sign from Mexico City Airport. Watch for unevennesses. I love that phrase, unevennesses. One of my girls took this picture of a lady with curlers in her hair smoking a cigarette driving down the road. I found that humorous. This was in Oklahoma. I don't know what the Angry Whopper is, but we did not stop and try it. This is also a wonderful remedy for certain ailments that I find humorous. This is in the Women's Building in Quakertown Park. We had some friends that had a wedding reception there. And I thought, what type of ladies were you that when people want to remember your legacy, you think that's the first thing that comes to mind? We want to honor you with gas logs. This was outside of a monastery in France where I was teaching a Bible institute. No bikinis or Speedos in the monastery. This is from Kenya, from Nairobi. I love the graphic, mind your step. This was on a government vehicle at the post office in Denton, Texas. No smoking. Permanently etched in there. So there's humor everywhere. This is one of my favorites because it's so subtle. This was in Dubai. Travel, namaste. You have to say it right to get it. That one cracked me up. I'm with an organization called Strategic Impact. I've been with them for 15 years. I was the first one to come on staff. We used to travel together as a team to all the locations. We train up leaders who will then make disciples, who will then plant new churches, and then they'll launch nationally led church planting movements that are autonomous. And now I oversee the continent of Africa, so I go back and forth typically 4 or 5 times a year for 2 to 3 weeks and work with my teams there so that they help them continue to multiply and grow. So these are some places that God has brought me through. France, Malawi, Kenya, India, Zambia, Tanzania, Venezuela, Ecuador, lots of different places that God has opened up doors to share the gospel and to teach others how to do the same, which is the same thing that I do here in missions geography. Bringing hope to those who have no hope. And so there's the 3 sub-regions that I oversee. Right now we have a presence in Sub-Saharan and in West, and we're raising up leaders so eventually they will send missionaries into Northeast Africa. Here's my team, our last meeting in March together. We may not look like much. I'm the one in the middle, in case you can't tell. We may not look like much, but all these guys represent 16 nations from across Africa. Either that's where they live and they have their works, or they've helped launch and move into the new nation and are working with leaders there, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. We have some that are 8th generation multiplication. And so these are some of my closest friends on the planet. These are guys, when I get into a crisis, these are the guys I call. I also have some local friends as well, but these are my family. The heart of this class. Here's my agenda for U.S. government. You don't have to write this down or anything. This is not on the syllabus, but my desire is to educate each student in the responsibilities of both government and the governed, so that you can be model citizens to set an example, and you can walk in full freedom under Christ and liberty under the law. It's my yearning that you would learn to recognize and oppose tyranny of any sort, that's either inflicted upon you or upon those who are weak and in need. Just like the Bible tells us to. So that you can make the most of the opportunities before you to establish and extend the kingdom of God. So in this, there's some tensions. And throughout this semester, we're going to see some of those tensions. We study U.S. government because of the Great Commission. Because it is God who establishes rule. 1 Peter 2 and Romans 13 say this clearly, directly, without variance. Be subject to the Lord, for the Lord's sake, to every human institution, whether it be the emperor as supreme or to governors as sent by him to punish those who do evil and praise those who do good. For this is the will of God, that by doing good you should put to silence the ignorance of foolish people. Live as free people who are free, not using your freedoms as a cover-up for evil, but living as servants of God. Honor everyone, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the emperor. We love God, and then we love neighbor. Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. Thus says the Lord, do justice and righteousness, and deliver from the hand of the oppressor him who has been robbed. And do not wrong or violence, and do no wrong or violence to the resident alien, the fatherless, the widow, nor shed innocent blood in this place. Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and destitute. Rescue the weak and needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. There's two sides of this. Because we honor the government, we love God. Because we love our neighbor, when the government stands against those who are in need, we stand against the government. So there's a hierarchy in our citizenship. We're first citizens of heaven, and we're second citizens of the United States. But those two things don't have to be opposed. So here's some tensions that we're going to see. Tensions for government, like right now, the free election process, everybody should be able to vote that are citizens. But how do you know that they're supposed to be able to vote and are citizens? So there's a tension there, and there's got to be middle ground and compromise and figure that out. Majority rules versus the liberty of the individual. This is why we're a democratic republic and not a direct democracy. Because of the direct democracy, it could be majority rule. 51% controls the lives of the other 49%. So our founding fathers, whether they were really this smart or what, they set some things in motion like the Electoral College, which is a beautiful balance to allow majority rule with accommodation and help to individual liberty. It's fascinating. Checks and balances versus efficiency. Our government runs slow, partly because our government keeps itself in check. If you have your foot on the gas and the foot on the brake at the same time, you're not going to go as fast, but you're also not going to blow anything up. Except for the brakes. Bad example. Ignore that. Federal authority versus state sovereignty. Also tensions for the government. Our role in creation as both caretaker and conqueror, as the one who takes dominion, but also the one who cares for the garden. So there's a tension between those things. Submitting to government and standing up for right. Large government versus small government. These tensions are good things, and an example that I use on that is you can't push a rope. Ropes are intended to hold things to where they're pulling in different directions, and they keep each other from going too far, or they move together in that. And that's part of these tensions built into government. So in order to engage in that, you've got to understand how the government works. When we understand how the government works, then we know what appropriate and proper actions we can take that are already made available to us, and they're there on how to bring change and how to make things better that needs to be changed. And it goes beyond just voting. Some of it is voting. Federal number 51 says, "But what is government itself but the greatest of all reflections on human nature? If men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary." So, again, first citizens of heaven and then citizens of the U.S., and these are not at odds with each other. So this leads us to, when we do take these stands, you have to understand that what you do and the manner or character in which you do it are of equal importance. I can share the gospel in a brutal way that does not honor Christ, but I share the gospel. I can fail to share the gospel and be all kind and loving, and that does not help the eternal state of the individual. I have to both share the truth and do it in a way that's congruent with the character of God. Same thing. When I'm standing for or against, I've got to stand for what's true in the appropriate way in the character and nature of Christ. So there's a bunch of scriptures about being peaceable in that. We will always do this with gentleness and respect. All right, some class specifics.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before, or sings tall words, proudly saying, "We the people." That what you called E Plebnista was not written for the chiefs or the kings, or the warriors, or the rich or the powerful, but for all people. Down the centuries you have slurred the meaning of the words "we the people of the United States," in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty. To ourselves and our posterity, you ordain and establish this Constitution. These words and the words that follow were not written only for the Yangs, but for the Khans as well.
Khans.
They must apply to everyone, or they mean nothing. Do you understand?
I do not fully understand, one named Kirk. But the holy words will be obeyed. I swear it.
Will not go check on you this year. But I found out this morning I thought that was humorous. Some of the things you're going to memorize this year: you will memorize the preamble to the Constitution, you will memorize the first section of the Declaration of Independence before it gets into the enumerations of the things against King George. So I've given you that sheet. I'll give it to you again on Monday in class. That's something we'll move forward to. I also have something else for you, a gift from me. This is not from DCA, this is from Dustin. It's your own pocket copy of the Constitution, Declaration of Independence. You'll be able to use this and your open notes on your quizzes, but not the exams. So you have a syllabus before you. You have memorization sheet, I believe. You have prologue, which we'll go over quickly. Again, here's the thing about contact. If you text or email me, we have to have a third party involved. And my only response, I have this already in a note in my phone, so I can just copy and paste it. Please resubmit your question with a parent and include it in the text and email conversation. That's the only response you're going to get from me until we have either 3 people in the text or a parent is CC'd on that email. All right, the content that we're going to cover, there are 6 units. Right? Yeah, 6 units. So we'll have, and there's 18 chapters. We're going to have 18 quizzes, 1 over each chapter, and those will come rapidly. And then we're going to have a test that comes from those quizzes over each unit. So 18 chapter quizzes, which will be open note, not open book, open note, and open pocket Constitution. There are multiple choice, true, false, and short answer vocabulary, things like that. 6 unit exams with no notes, no book, no Constitution. They're directly from the quizzes, and then we'll have a semester final. Those of you who had me in missions geography, you'll be happy to know that I have no projects scheduled yet because I'm new to this class and I'm overwhelmed by preparing for it. And so I have not had the time to put the thought in to put something together that's not just going to be busy work, and I'm not just going to give you busy work to waste your time doing crossword puzzles and stuff like that. So until it has meaning, profound meaning, I will not give you a project. So, but we will have a prayer log. So 1 Timothy 2 tells us to pray for those who are rulers. And so, in order to obey that, that and to foster that, because this is one of the biggest things that we can do as Christians for government, you have in front of you a prayer log supplemental that says My Government on it. On the back, there's an example of a formal letter of encouragement to my friend Gerard Hudspeth, who is the Mayor Pro Tem and District 1 Councilman on the Denton City Council. He and I are friends. So, in August, this month, you'll be completing that My Government. How are you going to pray for your government if you don't know who are your elected representatives? So this leads you through local, county, state, and national. Who are your elected representatives except the Supreme Court? And so those are not elected, those are appointed by the president and approved by Congress. But we still have them on there because they hold such a profound, powerful position. Then September through November, you're going to do a couple things. You're going to research and find an area or an issue, a challenge that is facing in September your local government, in October your state government, in November your national government, which we should all know that probably the election at that point, but it could be a lot of other things. So you're going to research a challenge and choose one of your leaders who's having to deal with that problem. You're going to pray for them 5 times a week, 1 time with a parent, and then you're going to write them and mail them, not email, not telegraph, not text. You're going to write them a formal letter of encouragement telling them that you understand some of the things going on within this challenge and that you're praying for them as your representative. And you might include that you're a future voter and constituent because they are directly in your line of representation. So we're learning how to both pray and act to bring about change in our governance. Then at the end of the month, all the due dates, which are all in the back of that prayer log, all the due dates and assignment dates are there. You will turn into me your completed prayer log and a copy of your letter that you mailed to them. Yes, you actually have to mail it. Okay? So, why is that repeated? I don't know why that's repeated. There we go. All right. Google Classroom. From those who had me in missions geography, we had my offering website that had resources and stuff that's kind of helpful. Get notes if you missed class and all that. All that's now on Google Classroom. So if you have not went ahead and signed up and all that, you got to do that. You got to get that going. And it functions very similarly to the way my offering website functions with categories and all that. This one's really important. We're going to book it in this class. We're going to move. Okay, so, and it's not going to be slower like we did with missions geography. It's going to be hammered down, and I'm going to be going through notes at a very rapid pace. You're going to have to discern, but we're preparing you now for your freshman year of college, where they just don't care, and they're going to be talking about what they want to talk about at the pace they want to talk about. So you're going to have to discern what's most important. All of my slides, all of my notes will be on that Google Classroom site, so if you miss something, you can go there to get it. And at the end of each chapter's slides, there's a full summary and key terms defined in those slides. Okay? So we're going to move. You're going to have to keep up. And as soon as we finish a chapter, the next class period, we're going to have a quiz. Now it's open notes and open constitution. So you should, if you've done well at keeping up with your notes or catching up on the ones that you missed at home from the slides, then you'll be doing fine. Okay? But it will be hammered down in go time. I will sweat when I teach them too, just like I am now, because we'll be moving. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Any questions, parents, students? Yes, ma'am.
So on the government, we don't live in Denton and we don't have all these officials because we live in just small town USA. So is it best to just do the city of Denton?
No, you actually do have those. Your county will have a county commissioner.
Oh, the county, but I'm saying like fire chief, we don't have a fire chief.
Okay. Then if it's volunteer fire department, then who's the leader of the volunteer fire department? Somebody's the captain.
Okay, so do it to the best of
It's
your ability.
to the best of your ability for your
community.
thing. Yeah, I'm wanting to get it to be as real as possible.
Okay.
So if you live in Corinth, or you're in Denton County. If you live in Sanger, Still in Benton County. If you live in Valley View, that's different. Or if you live in Decatur, that's Wise County. So whatever county that you're in needs to be accurate for your place.
Okay,
Okay? Your representative government.
yes. Because some of this does, because I just ran into that.
Yeah. All right, any other questions? Good question. Yes, ma'am.
So are we gonna have like, study guides for the exam and stuff like that thing with it?
The quizzes will become your study guides.
Okay.
Yeah, so every time we have a quiz, I'll give it back to you. I'll give you the Scantron that's graded back, because we're gonna use Scantrons for multiple choice. And then you'll use those to then prepare for the exams. Yeah. So, in the first unit, there's chapters 1 through 3. We won't finish chapter 3 and then immediately take a test. We'll finish chapter 3, take a quiz over chapter 3, and then have the test a couple days later. Okay, good question. Any other questions? You all good? I'm really glad that y'all are here. Those who I already have a relationship with from before and new, I don't know you, Jerry, but I look forward to getting to know you. We're gonna have fun, and it will be challenging. So there's gonna be days where you're like, yeah, I love this class. Mr. McCarty's awesome. There's gonna be like, I hate that man. I wish he would die. So there't gonna be days of both of those throughout the semester, and that's okay, because I'm gonna have days like that. Not about me, but about you. All right? All right, be free. Go partake in said lunch and recover from all this orienting.